Hey guys. Well, there's been a delay with the garage. We were supposed to have materials delivered yesterday, but we got word that there was an issue with the trailer. In addition to having problems with the delivery trailer, apparently our entire garage kit will not fit on the truck. So we're supposed to get part of it delivered today. Oh, actually, I swear I did not plan this. That's what Buddy was barking at. It's here. Okay. I had no idea the truck was here. I was gonna come out here and do a video about how there was a delay, and instead, our video today was gonna be about barbecue. It's kind of a dreary day, and I'm gonna smoke some ribs, but I guess I'll go ahead and film material being dropped off. I've got to show him where to put this stuff, so we'll see how this goes. That timing is really incredible. I literally just got up, just now taking the dogs out. I had no idea. Well, I just had a wonderful conversation with the delivery driver. He is going to be delivering one load this morning and then going back for the second load of the rafters, which we did not expect to happen after yesterday's trouble. That's perfect. That's good. It's such a cool machine. So I think this is the last little bit he's delivering this time. And then he's going to leave this handy little forklift machine and he's going to drive back to go get the rafters, the roof rafters, which we thought we were going to have to pay extra for because it's a second trip. But he said we don't.
When I do get your trusses here, you want me to just set them off to the side of the
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's perfect. And you're just going to leave that here then, huh?
Yeah, I'm just going to leave it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Unless you got an issue with it.
Not at all,
I'll
no.
just leave it here.
Yeah.
Because I won't be like right back, but I'll be like,
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
That makes
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
So this is all your lumber and your
Sheathing.
goodies, basically.
Yep.
So the only stuff that I'm going to be bringing next time is
Rafters.
your 2 ends and your 14 trusses.
Trusses. Got it.
So it's 16 in total.
Okay. Fantastic. Do I need to sign anything now? Or?
You know what? I just wait until everything's here.
That's perfect.
That way you've at least seen everything come in.
Yep, I'll be here.
And like I've told your wife in the past, if there's something missing, just call a store.
Okay.
They're really good about making sure that
Yeah. Yeah, they've worked with us really well. We accidentally ordered all the deck material to go to a Chicago area store, and it all shipped there and was ready for us to come pick it up. So that was a mess.
Oops.
Yeah, but they worked with us. We got it switched, and so no, we're in.
It happens.
It happens, but we're thankful for your flexibility, and we'll be ready to go next week.
Yeah, we'll get you taken care of.
Fantastic.
I'll make sure.
Thank you.
It'll all get here today.
Drive carefully. So, kind of a side note, when we had decking material delivered, I think it was decking material. I can't remember. It might have been siding. Anyway, he was delivering here. We had a different contractor, same driver for the store, but we had a different contractor here. And his plan was to deliver to us and then deliver to another job site, which was actually being run by the contractor we have now. I know that's a little confusing, but we put these stories together because our current contractor said, yeah, we were working on a job and the delivery guy never showed up because he was in a wreck on the highway after delivering to another job site. We were that other job site. He delivered to us, got on the highway, and had a problem and jackknifed his trailer, wrecked. I think he even ended up in the hospital for a little bit. Had to get a new truck. I can't remember all the details, but anyway, that's the same delivery driver. So he's been out here a couple times, and I haven't been here for all of those. Danya has been here. So he's been watching the progress of our project, and yeah, so it helps to know, or at least become friendly and friends with the people who are working on your project, because as of yesterday, we were gonna have to buy or pay for a second delivery because not everything fit on his truck. So what I've learned today is he's delivering what he can, and he's actually going to go back to the store, pick up the rest of it, as you heard, and at no extra charge to us. So that's customer service.
So Scott had to run in town while our rafters were being delivered, and I was just going to record it. And from the front porch I hear, oh no, that's not good, no. And then I heard a loud crash, and the pallet that the rafters were on broke when the guy was taking it off the trailer, and so our rafters crashed to the ground. I heard some cracking, but we're not sure there was any damage. There might be some superficial damage to the corners that hit the ground. And then this board is really messed up, but it could also be from the forklift. So I think they're okay. The driver made a note to let them know that they did fall in case there's any damage. So when Zach gets here on Monday and they inspect it, hopefully everything is good to go and we can get our garage started.
So as I've probably mentioned before, the kitchen is not quite ready for prime time. It's one of the last things we're going to be doing in our renovation. In fact, we just met with a local Amish cabinet maker who's going to be making us new doors for these cabinets. We're going to be taking this soffit down, extending the cabinets to the ceiling, building some custom cabinetry for the oven over there, which is just sitting on a 2x4 platform, has been for a couple of years now, just to kind of get the job done. We have these lovely 80s orange countertops and fake butcher block on the rest of the counters. And we've had this oven that has been sitting here for a couple of years, not hooked up, because this is in fact our stove over here. So a lot of work to be done in here, but because I originally planned to do a video about barbecue, I figured I would still go ahead and do that, even though we had a little nice event with the delivery of the garage. At one point, I was a certified, I guess I technically still am, a certified barbecue judge. But I haven't really smoked meats in a long time. I actually went 2.5 years as a vegetarian. So it's something I'm just getting back into, and I thought we'll make a video about it. So what we're making today is baby back ribs, also known as pork loin ribs. I'm going to try to set this up so that I don't have to hold the camera. I'm new to doing food videos, so bear with me. But we're going to prep the ribs, and then I'm going to put the smoker together, and we'll do a quick video because it's my first time using the green egg. We'll do a quick video of how to get that smoke set up, how to get the charcoal set up, ready for a nice slow, low cooking of these ribs. And yeah, we'll see how it goes. Well, this is embarrassing. I don't know why, but apparently the camera shut off. And all of my talking and preparation of these ribs didn't record. So let me just give you a quick overview. One, cleaned the ribs off, rinsed them off, peeled the membrane off the back of the ribs, coated them with a thin layer of mustard, and then a pecan rub. I talked at length about pecan and why it's my favorite. It has notes of hickory, but hickory can be really overpowering. So generally when I'm smoking meats, I really like to use pecan instead of hickory. Today we're actually going to be using apple, but with some pecan rub on the ribs, that should give us that nice flavor profile that I'm looking for. Actually, I've got to judge one of the biggest barbecue competitions in the United States called the American Royal. That was a really great experience. Over 500 barbecue competitors across a couple days of barbecuing. It was really, really fascinating to be a part of that. I also talked at length about Portuguese barbecue. We tried some barbecue chicken on our last trip and it was phenomenal, but I was curious if there's a barbecue competition culture in Portugal. I don't know, because at one point I did want to compete. In fact, that's how I got into judging, was I wanted to learn the ropes of being a barbecue judge and then see how that translated into being a competitor, if it gave me some kind of an edge. And I'm just curious, is it something that I can pursue in Portugal? If you live in Portugal and you have some knowledge of that, drop a comment on that. I'm truly and well fascinated and curious to know if that's something that even happens in Portugal. Anyway, the ribs are coated. Now they're going to be wrapped in foil, put in the refrigerator, and then I need to head out and get the big green egg set up. It's my first time using it, so we're gonna do this together. Anyway, here we go. Well, this was a miserable experience. First of all, they didn't put this together properly at the store, so that was a problem. And then thanks to my boys and to Danya, we got, wait, Eli, for the camera.
You want me to do my little...
What was that move? Thanks. So getting started a lot later than I intended. So anyway, ready to get the charcoals in here and get them lit. Just to kind of talk you through the plan. We're gonna fill this about halfway with charcoal, couple chunks of apple wood, start the fire, get it going, let it get established for about a half hour. And then put a grate across the top. Oh, we're gonna put a diffuser, heat diffuser under this, which I'll show you when I get there. And then the ribs go on, and we'll pick up from there. Okay, I think this is the wrong kind of charcoal. This says it was oak chunks, but this looks more processed than I think I needed. I think I wanted the more like natural looking wood chunks, but we're gonna work with this. First thing I wanna do is create a little indentation in the middle, according to everything I've read and seen online. And I'll drop my fire starter in there. Okay, it is almost time to put the ribs on. The thing we want to look for now is getting this temp down to 250 Fahrenheit. And so the way we do that is closing the top to just about half an inch open, and then same thing down here. Close that to just about a half-inch gap. And we were up a little bit over 400 just a few minutes ago, and it is steadily coming down, but not fast enough. So once we get that down to 250 Fahrenheit, we'll put the ribs on, and away we go. And that's looking good, right about 250. Ribs are going on, and now they are going to sit here for about an hour untouched, and we'll make a mop sauce, which is comprised of equal parts apple cider vinegar and apple cider and a couple other fun flavors in there. And about once an hour, we'll mop the ribs, which will give them a nice caramelized bark, as well as help the ribs stay moist and help the smoke adhere to the meat and absorb into the meat. So now the tricky part is to let these sit for an hour without touching them. Okay, earlier I mentioned a mop sauce, and it's called a mop sauce because you actually mop it on with a little handheld mop. And it's not really an exact science to this, at least in my experience. We're just gonna do equal parts apple cider vinegar and apple cider. And if you watch our reels on Instagram and Facebook, you'll remember we did a little video of our trip out to Lewisburg Cider Mill, and this is apple cider from Lewisburg Cider Mill. About half a bottle of that. Gonna add an equal amount of apple cider vinegar. And then I like to add a little bit of the rub that we are using on the ribs. A little bit of smoked chipotle Tabasco, but this will give a nice, little nice burn to it. And then later I'm going to make a glaze that I'll show you. I think I'll do a whiskey glaze. What do you think, Danya?
That sounds good.
Maybe a maple whiskey glaze. So that's it for the mop sauce. I mean, mix that up, get the mop nice and wet, and then you literally mop this on to the ribs about once an hour. Okay. I mentioned a glaze. I call it a glaze instead of a sauce because we're just going to put a nice thin layer on the ribs. So I'm not going to make a huge amount. I'll make enough here to brush on the ribs and then maybe have a little leftover, you know, for tasting or for dipping, I mean. And I decided to do a maple bourbon. And I forgot, I actually have this Sap 56 maple flavored whiskey, which is kind of perfect. So I'm gonna add a healthy amount of this because we are gonna cook this down, and this will keep it nice and thin. So some maple whiskey. How about a little real maple syrup? The sugar is super important for a glaze because that's what gives us the caramelization. I'm gonna add a healthy helping of our rub, and just mix this together really well so it's nice and smooth. And we'll let it simmer actually for a few minutes, kind of cook off some of the alcohol. And that is really all it takes for our glaze. for the ribs. Maybe just a couple dashes of the smoked chipotle for a little bit of heat. And mixed with the sweet, that kind of gives you a classic Kansas City sweet heat glaze. We won't put this on until the last few minutes of the smoke. Okay, time for mop number 2. It's looking really good. Okay, it's time for, oh, I forgot the mop.
Oh, go get the
I'll
mop.
go get the mop. It's time for mop number 4. And the prerequisite gunfire. Mop number 4, and very likely the last mop. Look at that beautiful color on there. That's what we call the bark. Now it's not as barky because we haven't glazed yet. So there's not as much sugar. There's a little bit of sugar in the mop. Remember, it's equal parts cider and apple cider vinegar. I don't know if you can hear the gunshots in the distance, but that's a semi-automatic gun. Another thing to look for, I've got a sweet potato baking here, but as the meat is pulling away from the bone like that, this is a great indication that we are close to being done. In fact, we may not have to wait an hour for the final glaze. Maybe just about 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe. And then we'll let these rest. And then it's time to eat. Okay, well, it's that time. It is time to actually glaze the ribs. Beautiful bark, beautiful smoke. That sweet potatoes getting nice and soft. And more gunshots in the background. You know, just for that complete American feel. There's the sauce, the glaze we made earlier, and I'm just going to brush this on. Maybe even pour a little bit right on. So we're not drowning the ribs in the sauce. There's a lot of sugar content in this glaze between the maple syrup and the maple whiskey. Let's add a little bit to this rack. It has been years since I made ribs, so I was really nervous, and also I've never used big green egg, so this whole method, I've seen it done. I've judged barbecue ribs that were done this way, and they were always incredible. I don't know if you've heard of the big green egg. I mean, I'm not going to mince words here. I haven't had one because they're ridiculously expensive. But everybody I know who's had one says they're completely worth it. I am going to find out firsthand if it's worth the work. Sorry, I'll wait for the gunfire to die down. It's a different kind of gun than we normally hear around here. Lots of folks out in the country have guns, you know, mainly for managing coyotes or other pests, and this sounds bigger and not a shotgun. Sounds like a semi-automatic AR-15 style rifle. I'll just be honest with you. I don't understand the fascination. I don't understand the fetish, to be honest. It is just a beautiful color. The ends are slightly charred, not burnt, charred. So we're going to shut it up here, let that glaze set for just about 5 minutes. You don't want to go too much. When you do have that much sugar content, the risk of burning is really high. So we're going to let that finish up for about 5 or 6 minutes. I'm going to take the ribs off, put them on the tray and wrap them just to keep them warm. You can wrap them tightly and the steam will continue to cook and they fall off the bone tender. I don't really like them that way. Maybe it's from judging. I like to have them a little bit more pull or a little more bite. But I want to keep them warm while we do finish up the sweet potato, and I'm gonna throw a couple ears of corn on the grill. But I think I'll just come back, show you one more time what the finished product looks like. By the time it's all said and done, probably took 5.5 hours to cook. But what an amazing grill. It's one batch of coal in there. I've not had to add any coals. It has really maintained temperature. In fact, I've kind of had to fight it. It keeps climbing up on me, and I'm trying to keep it as low as possible. But we still actually hovered closer to 300 than 250, which is fine. Since I got a late start, I'm okay to cook them a little bit faster. And with resting, I think they'll be fine. But I'll let you know in just a few more minutes. Okay, so this is, the glaze has only been on for about 5 or 6 minutes, and I said I didn't want to leave it on too long. Come take a look at this. It's already darkened up, and that's exactly what we're looking for, is that caramelization. And now the big test is when we pick it up, boy, it has truly not moved in 5.5 hours on the grill. We want to see flexibility in the rack without falling to pieces, and that's going to be the true test. And look at that. It's holding together. It's bubbling at the bone. The meat has pulled away from the bone. This would win in a competition. And I have to admit something here. I was just telling Danya, who's behind the camera, anytime I've smoked at home, whether it be ribs or pork butt, everything, chicken, I have never had a smoker. Oh my gosh, this one is really falling apart. I think this one was hotter. Uh-oh. I say uh-oh. It's gonna taste amazing. That one would not score as well. It's a little hotter. Anyway, I have never had a smoker where I could finish the entire smoke or the entire cook on the grill. For as long as you've known me, I've had to smoke it and then put it in the oven to finish it. This entirely on the smoker. So now we're gonna let the sweet potato cook a little bit more. I'm gonna go get a couple of ears of corn, put those on. But then when that's done, I'll actually cut into one, and let's see if we have that holy grail of a smoke ring on the outside of the meat. That's the big thing I'm looking for. So just a few more minutes. So we open up the vents, really get that heat going, put a little char on the corn. I like to leave it in the husk, however it comes packaged. If they had fully in the husk corn available, I would have bought those instead of these. And then I just leave them in the husk and they steam in the husk, which just, I think, adds a whole other layer of flavor. But for these, we'll just crank up the heat. Those shouldn't take very long at all. Okay, well, it's time to reveal. Why am I so nervous? I can probably just use my hand. So let's, oh my goodness, look at that. Let's just cut it right in the middle, like butter. That was not very elegant. But look at that. So do you see that pink all around the edges? That's not underdone. That's not medium rare.
Smoke ring.
That's a smoke ring. That's applewood smoke. Nothing left but the eating. It was a very busy day.
Yes, it was.
A very long day. I think this is probably how we're going to wrap up our video. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, hit that notification bell.
Eat your veggies. Be kind to others. Drink water.
How about some wine?
Spend time with your family.
Even if it's just doing work. boys were here for,
Two of the boys came down.
yeah, for a few hours.
They did a lot of work. They did a lot of weed eating.
They did.
Looks great.
Cheers.